cannot overestimate the importance of your task. The Orne River Bridge must be captured before the enemy can destroy it. This bridge is a vital military artery, and the enemy has prepared it for demolition. It must be taken by surprise and captured intact. Your gliders will land at night without the benefit of ground support. You will assault the garrison, overwhelm it, and hold until relieved.
Hello, and welcome to another Steel Division Divisional review. And today we're taking a look at the 6th Airborne Division. I really wanted to put the entire clip from that scene from The Longest Day, but I think we'll just leave it at that for now. Anyway, we're looking at the British 6th Airborne Division. They're the first guys to land during the D-Day invasion. They're very fun, very interesting division. It can be very tricky to play, as they have some pretty micromanaged intensive units, but you got a lot of veterancy and a lot of airborne troops. This really does feel like an airborne division, especially how you get lots of good guys later on, and you'll very much rindle in terms of units and equipment in the later stages. Anyway, let's take a look at how, they work in game. So you have 70 points in A phase, which is not a lot. It's very much on the lower end. But you got 125 in B and 135 in C. Even though it is a rather low A phase income, a lot of your A phase units are pretty cheap. Your infantry is pretty cheap, tanks pretty cheap. So it's not that much of a hindrance. Just really, if you want to buy A phase planes, is a pain in the ass. 38 activation points, and your slots is pretty well rounded. Lots of infantry, and everything else is pretty well rounded apart from the anti-air. You only got 3 anti-air slots, and a lot of airplanes because you are an airborne division. So let's jump right into the recon tab as usual. So for recon infantry in A phase, there's 3 different options: AB scouts, pathfinders, and AB snipers. I don't think the scouts are really that good of a unit. They're 5-man recon squads, so they're better than 4-mans usually, and they do have a Bren gun, but I don't know, the firepower, infantry firepower isn't exactly that great. They do have AT grenades, which is pretty nice, and we're going to be seeing a lot of AT grenades within this division. But compared to the Pathfinders, Pathfinders are a much better choice. They dish out more firepower at close range, thanks to the extra Sen gun, and losing the Bren gun for long range engagements isn't exactly a loss. Gaining smoke grenades is a huge bonus, shows it allows you to, get up close or get out of sticky situations. It's a very useful tool. And once again, AT grenades and having smoke to, get in close to use your AT grenades is pretty good. And you got the AB snipers, which are fan-flipping-tastic, because they're a 2-man sniper team of 2 stars. I was meant to say 2-star originally, but nonetheless, sniper teams are so bloody good as they just stun up enemy infantry like that extremely quickly. 2-3 shots, the infantry unit's stunned, and you usually get a kill with every shot that they shoot. So they're a very useful tool. They also come with a release jeep, which isn't exactly the most useful thing, but it's kind of nice. The carrier Recce is pretty pants. It's just a universal carrier with an anti-tank rifle and a Bren gun, so it's not really anything to write home about. Very cheap, but there's much better options that we can take. B phase is more standard. You got Recces and Scouts, all pretty standard stuff. The B phase Recces in the Humbers are pretty nice because they are Humbers, and then you got some B phase Stag Hounds with no veterancy, which aren't really worth it. They're not like the 3rd Canadian Stag Hound with 2-star veterancy and C, which are a very good Stag Hound recon card. Infantry, this is where we get to the real meat and potatoes. So there's a bunch of different A phase paratrooper infantry you can pick, and they're all really bloody good. AB Bren group, probably the only good Bren group in the game, because it's a 10-man squad and they got 2-star veterancy. 2 Brens, 2 Stens, and 6 Leonfields. Pretty much your long-range fire support group. Not the greatest still, at long range. There are still only Bren guns, but the 2-star veterancy helps out quite a bit, and that's pretty good in CQC as well, because they got 2 SMGs. AB leaders, pretty standard leader unit. They have AT grenades, which is really the common thing of a lot of infantry within this division. And then you got AB powers, which are more of your CQC focused airborne troops. 4 Sten guns, 5 Leonfields, 18 aids, and 1 Bren. It's pretty much a beefy SMG shock trooper squad, essentially, with AT grenades. The airborne Vickers are actually not that bad. I'm still not a big fan of Vickers guns, personally. It depends. In this division, I wouldn't really say they're worth it, as you have a bit limited infantry slots. I know it sounds a bit silly, but you really want to be taking all these other proper infantry squads and not heavy machine guns. So the AB Vickers is not the best card. Ox and Bucks is a really good card. They're pretty much a CAB Bren group, but they got a Piat. So they actually have some decent AT, long-range AT weaponry of infantry. For the most part, it's this AT grenade. You do get less of them, they are 5 points more expensive, but 5 points more for a Piat, I think that's a pretty damn good deal. B phase is mostly regular infantry. Assault Pioneers, where it's not really that good. Just you kind of need more infantry slots to really take advantage of. And we'll see where once we get to the actual, when I show you the actual bloody deck. Outlanding are actually pretty decent. They're pretty much your, I'm about to say B team, and that's pretty accurate considering you get them in bloody B phase. They're not your best guys, they're not as awesome as the AB troops, but they still have 1-star veterancy, they got a Piat, they got 2 SMGs, they're not that bad. Only a 7-man squad, Joe, so they are more vulnerable, of course. But still, you can get a decent amount of them. They're good for, what you'd use the B team for, essentially. Rifle leaders, pretty standard stuff, and then some more Vickers and B phase. These B phase Vickers aren't too bad because you get more of them per card, and they come with the universal carrier, which is kind of nice, but still nothing exactly great. Really, it all comes down to the awesome A phase infantry, and you're pretty much gonna use all the A phase infantry because they're pretty damn good. Tanks, you don't get. You actually have a decent amount of tank slots. I said take that back. You get 5 of them. You don't get too much in terms of variety, but you got some pretty interesting runs. The main A phase run is the Tetrarch, like with Americans getting the M22 Locust, you got the Tetrarch, which is also another glider tank. You can't stick in a glider and drop it behind enemy lines like in Company of Heroes, but it's still a pretty decent tank. With only 3 armor, it will get stressed out to pretty much anything that shoots it. Anything with an AP value will kill you. You don't have HE ammo for the main cannon, which does suck, actually does suck. But it's still a very good tank, I find. I find Tetrarchs to be a bit like Marmite. Some people really like using them, and some people really hate using them. I'm the one who likes using them, as they're very cheap, only 45 points. They got a decent gun, and it's just a bit of extra fire support, just a bit of extra armor that that helps out in A phase to fight any enemy armor, or just to keep a grenadier squad at bay or trooping squad because they can't kill something with a little bit of armor. You got some command Tetrarchs, which are okay, not as card efficient, and then you got the Tetrarch Little John, and it has a bigger gun compared to the other one, which is a bit silly. But with the Little John chapter, it does 14 AP, does lose 200 meter range though. But considering this is a 55 point unit that can pretty easily frontally penetrate a Tiger tank, that's not too bad. That's really not too bad. I've been able to kill Panthers and stuff with these vehicles before. They're not to be trifled with. You just have to use them a bit more cautiously because you don't have the extra range. B phase, it's really just Cromwells. They're not bad tanks. They don't have any veterancy. The nice thing is they're only 120 points, and you got 125 points a minute in B phase, meaning you can get 1 per minute. You get more Cromwells in C phase. The command Cromwells are pretty decent because they do have some veterancy, as well as the option to get challengers, which means you do have a pretty, statistically, a pretty decent tank to fight enemy heavy tanks. The challengers doesn't have a lot of armor, of course. So in a run-and-run fight against a Panther or a Tiger, you'll still kind of be a little bit titch up. But it's nice to be able to bring out a 17-pounder tank in what is essentially an airborne division. So that's pretty cool. Support's pretty meh. It's pretty meh. A-phase flamethrower troops, pretty decent. They can be really good, but I don't find you really need them because you already have a lot of good A-phase infantry, like AB Powers and Pathfinders for CQC. But if you really want some extra CQC want to spice things up a bit, the AB flamethrowers aren't a bad choice. The AB Jeep's Vickers is a bad choice, though. There's this thing called the SAS Jeep, which does 24 HE damage, and this only does 8. So, no, the AB Jeep Vickers is terrible. Do not get it. Supply Jeeps in A phase, very much worthwhile. You're gonna want, a little bit of supply. And I believe that, it only supplies till C phase where you get reinforced by trucks. Tech Truck CS is a tank truck with a 76mm howitzer. No AP, but only HE. So it's pretty much the counterpart to your regular tech truck. I find them to work really well in tandem. You get a regular tech truck and then a tech truck CS, and you can use to deal with most problems. Well, in a reasonably what you're spending the money for. It's like the budget version of Boy to Firefly and Boy to Cromwell for Trophy S. B-phase Dingoes and C-phase Dingoes for a bit of extra command. And B-phase Long Range Cromwell, you only get 1 per card in the B-phase run show, which is not really that good. Usually it's like in A phase you get 1 per card of these Cromwells, and then B phase you get 2 per cards. But you have to wait till C phase for 6 airborne to get these in the 2 per card. So I think in B phase and C phase they kind of lost a bit of their charm. So not really worthwhile in my book. Anti-tank, you're not going to have a lot of numbers, but by God, you got some lovely units. You're going to need ABPH, as your infantry does lack good... Well, some of the Oxen Bucks do have PH, which is nice, but for the most part, you only have AT grenades, which aren't exactly the most reliable anti-tank weapons. So you're going to want to sprinkle in some cheap ABPH in towns and other areas to, hopefully kill French Renault tank charging your position. You got 2-star 6-pounders. You only get 1 per card, but these are very good units. It's very vulnerable, and it's going to become a very high priority target when it does get spotted. But by George, when you shoot at something, you don't miss. You do not miss, especially if you pump it up to 3-star veterancy. So great ambush weapons. Just make sure to keep him on the move, because you do not want him to get killed. You can't afford to lose these 6-pounders. You really cannot. Same thing you can't afford to lose is Pack 40. And this is a very good card. It's cheaper than a regular Pack 40. Quite a bit cheaper, I believe. Like 15 points cheaper or so. This is just a bloody Pack 40. And considering using a Pack 40 against the Germans, it's good in 2 reasons. Number 1, it's ironic. And number 2, is because this is a high AP value and a lot of German tanks, especially in A phase and early B phase, are pretty low armor value. You're going to pretty much cut through everything like a hot knife through butter. And you have the extra range as well, so a very good card. Especially if you'll find a more open map, you just need to cover an open field, because, your infantry aren't exactly the best, or tanks are the best in an open field in A phase. This can help remedy that situation. B phase Piats are pretty worthless, because they come in the MMG carrier. I don't really want an MMG carrier when I'm buying Piats. I just want anti-tank weaponry. So they can pass on that. Regular 6-pounders in B phase don't have any veteran shield, which is not cool. And then some 17-pounders in B, and then some more 17-pounders in C phase. Pretty standard stuff. Anti-air, 2-star Postons, pretty much your standard 20mm stationary anti-aircraft piece. You got tri-Postons, you got Postons on the back of a truck, and stack counter. Really, anti-air it's nothing really that great. There's nothing really to talk about here. Artillery has quite a bit to talk about. A phase, you got the options between 3-inch mortars and 75mm howitzers. Both are pretty good. I would recommend taking the mortars though, as they're much more card efficient compared to the 75mm howitzers. You also got naval off-map in A, and then more naval off-map in C. So you got, this is really bloody good off-map, I tell ya. You can just devastate towns. Heck, you can kill tanks with a right use of this off-map artillery. 2-inch carry in B phase is really terrible. 4-inch mortars aren't bad though. They're not bad. 75mm howitzers are actually pretty decent into B phase, as well as more off-map artillery with 203mm off-map. So you got some very card efficient off-map artillery in its division, and I think it works really well, and I'll explain why in a bit. Aeroplanes. You're an airborne division, you got a lot of aeroplanes, and the RAF is giving you plenty of ground support. 2-star Ulster, it's alright, it's a recon plane. Tempests in A phase if you want that. You got Typhoons in A phase, and then the Mozzie Pathfinder in A phase. I highly recommend the Mozzie Pathfinder. It's a very good A phase plane. It's really the only A phase plane I take, as I find that you don't really need. I think all you really need is one A phase plane for 6 airborne, because you don't really have the income to be buying like 2 of these guys. It gets pretty expensive. But the Mozzie Pathfinder is a good A phase plane, because napalm's great against a lot of soft targets, etc. You're going to be encountering in A phase. And it's not the best fighter in the world, trust me, but if it gets behind something, it's 10 HE damage. It can shoot down stuff very fast. It does require use of your A phase pretty much potions to help kill or chase down those Messerschmitts or Focke-Wulfs or, you know, J180H that are coming out in A phase. But it's not bad. It's multi-role is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it is of course a strategy. The classic war game strategy of napalming the road to try to stop the enemy from getting into a town, etc. Doesn't really work in this auto-rail. I've tried doing it a few times. I've had it happen against me a few times, but it's such a big point investment, like 290 points, almost 200. That's pretty much, I'm trying to do the math here, 2/5 of your income and one gimmick. Right, you could be just buying more ground units to help, you know, fight the ground. You need to take ground to take the map to win the game. It's not really worthwhile. B phase, more Tempest, 1-star and 2-star veteranry. Tempest, one of the best fighters in game. They're really well-rounded. A lot of damage, great speed, good agility. Bang on. Typhoon bombers, pretty decent. Mozzie bombers, pretty good, and you got some more heavy-duty Mozzie bombers. Same ones in B and then more into C. And then Typhoon ATs. And Typhoon ATs are pretty much going to be your main ray, I'd say. Or I think it should be your main ray when you build your deck to deal with enemy armor. As they're really good at dealing with enemy armor, especially once you get to B and C phase, because you do get the income to buy a lot of aeroplanes. And you can just get a whole bloody fleet of Typhoon ATs if you get enough of them. And they move up with a Tiger. Typhoon AT, it's stunned up, it's forced to retreat, bring another one up, you may be able to kill it. Typhoon ATs are bloody great. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at a deck that I built earlier. Once again, the deck code's in the description below, and you notice I actually have 2 decks, and I will get into that in a little bit. And I will be showing both decks off. There's only one major change between both. So let's get right to it. So recon tab, we take both Pathfinders and both AB snipers. That's going to be our only recon. I find it to be more than enough. They're good recon units, and they're great fire support combat units, I should say. Snipers are great fire support units. Pathfinders make pretty good CQC infantry in towns, especially if you know how to use smoke grenades. Infantry. So pretty much for every single 6 airborne deck, you should take all the airborne Bren groups, all the AB powers, and all the Oxen Bucks. I also want to mention the Oxen Bucks are actually, in the longest day, that clip, these were the guys who physically landed in those gliders in that clip. They're the first guys land in Normandy, so, I don't know, just pretty cool clip. Pretty cool little tidbit, yeah. But anyway, you want to take all of these guys, no matter what, because really this division is all about the A phase front-loaded infantry. It means you're going to run out later on, and that is one of the major problems of 6 Airborne. But you really do need to have these great infantry in a town. I haven't really seen a 6 Airborne division work too well with more B phase focused. Like, you know, doing Ireland and spam, or Vickers or Assault Pioneer spam. Doesn't really work. You don't have rifles spam, for example, or anything more concrete. That's a good, you know, chunky infantry in it. So you're really reliant on these AB powers and Oxen Bucks and Bren groups to really do the job. I take 1 leader card. Some people like taking 2 leader cards because they want the extra leaders, but I don't feel like I need to do that, and I like just having, you know, a bit of extra buffer infantry, the B team, airland, and to help out later on. Tanks. I said I like Tetrox, so I get lots of Tetrox. Both cards in A phase and the Little John card. You may or may not like it. I find it to work pretty well for me, and heck, even into later game, Tetrox can prove to be pretty nasty little buggers. The best way to use Tetrox is you don't use it as a frontline tank. They're not good at frontline tanks. Even in real life, they're terrible frontline tanks. But if you plant it behind a tree line or building, and just wait for something to get close, you pop around, you shoot it, and you pop back in. Yeah, that's how you use Tetrox. Just pop in, pop out. The command chrome rails may seem a bit weird when I'm taking a bunch of command chrome rails. There's really two reasons. The first one is I don't have any support leader units, so my only other leader units is AB leaders. So having some extra leaders is definitely rather nice. The second reason is they have veterancy compared to the other tanks. And that extra veterancy helps out quite a bit when it comes to just Sapphire. I really like having more veterancy of my units compared to spam. You can, if you don't feel comfortable with only, you know, like pretty much this pretty rubbish medium tanks compared to a Sherman in C phase when Tigers and Panthers come out, feel free to swap out for Carter Challengers or heck, or, you know, just more spammable Chrome Rails into C phase. But I find these to work pretty well. I use them in the same way like I use the Tetrox. I'm not putting them on the front line. I hide them behind a bush or building, wait for something to get close, pop around, get a kill. Yeah, that's what I use the command Chrome Rails for. I don't really feel like I need to use Challengers because I got other anti-tank in another tab. Support is really bare bones. I take Jeep Supply. It's more than enough supply to get me by, and you'll see why in a minute. And Tetrox CS for that 8-phase fire support if I, you know, need fire support to help take a town. Anti-tank, ABPats, both 6-pounders and both, not both, but the only PAG 40 in A phase. Very A phase, frontally loaded, and in C phase 17-pounders. I do want some sort of long-range AT for the later stages of the game, ground rise, and I prefer these better in the challenges because you can hide a 17-pounder in a bush and get an ambush shot on a tiger or panther with it. So I just find that to be a bit more reliable personally. Anti-air, all the potions. I just take all the potions. They're cheap and they have 2-star veterancy. Yes, 20mm anti-air isn't exactly the greatest thing in the world. It's not the most useful thing in the world. But it's not to be underestimated, because they can stun our planes pretty fast, I find, these potions, if they fly directly over you. And that's the trick with the potions. They have terrible range, because it's only a short-range anti-aircraft piece. So you do need to, if you're, like, you know, have your fighter and you're trying to bait him into the AA, you'll need to make sure that you can fly the fighter directly over your potion to lure those fucker rolls and Messerschmitts to get stunned up, and you can turn around and get the kill while they're falling back. But yeah, they're cheap, they're spammable, they make pretty good fire support in A phase, ground-based fire support, because you can pop them in a hedgerow, and use them like a machine gun squad, which is pretty decent. They do run out of ammo pretty fast too, so you're gonna want to get a Jeep Supply pretty soon once you get one of these chaps in the field. And the reason we don't only need one card of Jeep Supply is because we're mainly using off-map artillery. May seem a bit cheesy, but it really is, I'd say, the optimal way to play 6 Airborne. We are taking one mortar card in A phase for the smoke, and just for fire support. Like, for example, I find Falch Shakers and buildings, they're a bit of a pain in the ass. We use 3-inch mortars to stun them up, the AB troops finish them off. We've got the A phase off map, B phase off map, and C phase off map. We've got off map for every phase of the game. And our off map's pretty simple. It's point and click. You want that town just decimated, call in the naval off map, wait 40 seconds, and go in and clear the remains. Also, off map is very good, especially its level of off map, to stop enemy panzer pushes and just stopping the enemy from pushing you too hard into the later stages of the match. And the airplanes. So the reason this deck is called AT, or the anti-tank deck, is because I got a bunch of Typhoon ATs. Pretty much I keep the Mozzie Pathfinder, Tempest, and Tempest with my other 6 Airborne deck. I find 4 Tempest being our fighter support, and then the Mozzie Pathfinder for the A-phase bomber / fighter thing. If I'm playing a 1v1 or a team game, and I know the enemy's bringing a lot of Panzers, or Panzer divisions I say, like Trophy SS, 1st SS, 2nd Panzer, etc., I bring all the Typhoon ATs. It's a lot of Typhoon ATs. It's 6 of them. It may seem a bit overkill, but considering these are your airplanes are your point dump unit in 6th Airborne, everything else within the division is pretty affordable. I mean, this Cromwell's only 150 points. The artillery is pretty expensive, but that's really it, and you're not going to be getting too many of these chaps. So we're going to have a lot of points. So we might as well just buy Typhoon ATs, and Typhoon ATs are so bloody good at just stopping assaults. It may not seem that cool compared to like buying like bunch of tanks or AT guns or etc. to stop tanks, because the Typhoon AT is only on the field for 30 seconds every 4 minutes or so. I believe that's roughly the reload time, but they can make a huge dent in those 30 seconds. If you make the right strafing run on a Tiger or Panther, you can stop a push, you can heck even kill Tigers and Panthers if you get good side shots on them. And also as a trick with the Typhoon AT, you turn off the rockets when you go for the strafing run, and then turn them back on once you're like within 800, 600 meters of the target. You pretty much just have to eyeball it, but essentially just make the Typhoon AT strafe the target with the cannons, and then you turn on the rockets in the middle of that. You only shoot 4 rockets out of the 8, but those 4 rockets at close range will do the same amount of damage at 8 rockets at the maximum range that it engages at. So it's worthwhile. It's worthwhile to do that. It requires a bit of micro, a bit of patience, but you can make it bloody work. And on jumping over to the HE version of the deck, did I make changes? Bugger it. Anyway, it's pretty much the same thing, but we're taking more mosquitoes this time. If I'm against more infantry-focused division, I'm gonna use this, because I just want to bomb the everlasting crap out of all my ground targets with mosquitoes. I prefer the mosquitoes over the Typhoons, just because they're faster, they're more resilient, and they can be a pretty decent fighter if they can get behind something. They're not agile, of course, but they do create a bit of damage, and they can actually chase something, where the Typhoon bomber can't really. And then one card of Typhoon ATs just for dealing with, you know, like the odd Stug or Mortar 2 here or yeah. So, overall, the pros of this division is, well, you got really good infantry, and you get a lot of it, and it's pretty cheap. Like all these 2-star infantry squads are only like 25 to 30 points. That's a really good bloody deal. That's an insanely good bloody deal. That's pretty awesome. You can really bring down the storms with the 10-piston Typhoons. Pun intended. Great, pretty much this great RAF fighter support airplanes. You got really lovely air tab with the 6th Airborne. It is immaculate with the fighters, the HE bombers, and the AT Rapidry you can get in. Also, you got lovely off-map. You got so much off-map. It's pretty much cheesy level amount of off-map artillery, but it's pretty damn good. And it's nice having that amount of off-map because you don't have to worry about getting a lot of supply trucks. So it's, you know, 1 card of Jeep supply is all you need. Now the cons of this division. The first one is your limited ground-based anti-tank weaponry. Especially the way I built my deck, because I only have like 2 17-pounders in the C phase as my long-range AT weaponry. I mean, I have the Pack 40s as well, but that's probably going to die by the end of B phase. It usually does. So, if you can't get air superiority, and you can't get those Typhoon ATs out, you're gonna have a bad time. You are. You really are. Also, you run out of stuff with 6th Airborne. Out of all the divisions, 6th Airborne probably has the least number of units in it. You will run out of stuff by the end of the game if it comes to a 40-minute match. The replay I'm about to show you, I was the one playing 6th Airborne, but I pretty much ran out of everything once I hit into C phase. Like all the infantry, all the recon, all the tanks, I was completely kaput. And also, 6th Airborne is a pretty hard division to play. I'd say it's very much an advanced division. You have to be good with your infantry micro, especially considering it's not just flamethrowers CQC troops, which are pretty easy to use. You don't have smoke grenades on your infantry, which makes them hard to micro-am and get them close, as you pretty much all your infantry for 6 Airborne requires getting in close into CQC 100 meter range to do the damage. You have to be conservative and good with your AT guns and A phase. You have to be good with your airplane micro, and that's all pretty demanding, I say, for more newer player. If you are a newer player to this game, I wouldn't recommend picking up 6 Airborne immediately. Try playing the 101st first. Yeah, a bit more forgiving. And they're not as good, I'd say, when it comes to the maximum potential you can achieve out of it. But 6 Airborne it's just a tough division to play out the bat. And with that out the way, let's see how the 6 performs in a 1v1. And we're back. We're doing a 1v1 on MgKBiAoIECfgQ. This is actually a replay I played, and I played it on stream, and this was a fantastic match. Homestead was a fantastic opponent. He really kicked my ass for a lot of it, but because I'm showing you some divisional replays, spoiler alert, I do end up winning. But we are on the fit in the map of MgKBiAoIECfgQ, and well, for the deck, it's pretty much just the 6 Airborne deck with the high explosive bombs is the one that I'm using. So I don't really have to say anything else apart from that. So, well, let's actually take a look at deployment and, well, what is the plan? So for a map like this, it's a pretty tough map for 6 Airborne. 50% of it is pretty tough. 50% of it is not so tough. This open airfield's an absolute pain in the arse in A phase, especially the side that I'm given. Because I don't have any long range AT to really deal with it. I got one Pack 40 that I can get, but where can you put the Pack 40? You can only really put it here and here to cover the airfield, and that doesn't exactly have great range. Can't put it over here, it's only medium cover, it's not going to be raw, it's just going to stick out like a sore thumb. While the other side does have better AT positions, which is a bit of a pain. So, going to be more Tetrarch use over here, and just having some infantry in the bunkers to try to hold things off. The town, however, is a different beast. I have a pretty good chance in the town. I got CQC infantry, I got the mortars. I can probably push through here and give the enemy a tough time. Against 91st, the main concern is fighting his paratroopers, those Feldjägers. He only has 8 of them, but they are rather tough customers, and they will shred my infantry in long-range engagements and machine gun fights. And he is going to have Ursat's troop in front of him, you know, being at buffer, being at shield between his guys and my guys from being able to engage. So we're going to kick his off. Their zone deployment, pretty much just trying to get into the buildings. Most of the division is infantry in it, so of course you're just trying to get into the buildings, and he's pretty much going to be doing the same thing. I do have a few Tetrarchs. I got one over the air. Oh, I only did deploy one. I do end up getting a lot. No, I do have 2 Tetrarchs. I got one there and one on the right hand side. And in towns, I like using them in towns. I mean, tanks aren't really ideal in towns, and this doesn't have HE ammo in the main gun, so it seems pretty bad in towns. But I like using them in towns because they're disposable. If I lose it, I don't really care. It's 45 points. I can just buy another one. And I got lots of them. And just a bit of extra armor helps. So we're just going to be having an initial infantry engagement. Tank trunks are helping out a little bit of their one Vickers machine gun. And it's got the Oxenbucks and Pathfinders going at it. But he's got the one Feldjäger squad here, and as you can see, it just does a tremendous amount of damage to the Oxenbucks. I try to micro him out. Left hand side here, not going to be going too well. I only have some, I only have the AB brain groups for long range fires. Poor Pathfinder's going to be joining in for some rifle fire. For AT, it really just comes down to the AB Piat. And that Renault tank is not going to come anywhere close, so it's going to take a Renault tank quite a while to suppress anything. And this is where I use the mortar to great effect to stun up his Feldjägers. He did pull back the Feldjägers because of the mortar fire. And because I realised a lot of his stuff is on the right, and he was pushing pretty hard left with lots of units, I thought, okay, I can just barrel down through the middle here. It's probably pretty open, and it is. Now, the one thing that's something about the micro of 6 Airborne troops is this is very bad micro with the AB powers. I would kind of recommend just turning off the Bren guns with the AB powers. Heck, even turning off the Einfields to some extent. Because here I'm sitting at, 300 meters, and I'm just plinking away with a Bren gun with an attack move order. And as we know, if I can actually pull it up, the Bren gun only does 1.5 AG damage. It shows 2 because I can't show, into decimal numbers. So instead of really bad use of AB powers, what you should be doing is jumping in from building to building to building, getting in close and letting the stands do the work. And this is what I mean about 6 Airborne being, a higher tier, tough division to play. You really need to know how to use the micro and just use your units efficiently. And I make some pretty big blunders. Yes, Matt, like some pretty big blunders. I'll be making sure to show them off. So over here is a Stu-42. This is the bane of my existence. I hate the everlasting crap out of this thing, especially on a map like this, because my only long-range fire support, as I mentioned, is a Pak-40, and I can only put it back here, really. So this Stu has free reign of this entire bloody airfield, and even using the Pak-40 against this is not efficient, because if I miss, and at max range, even if run self-atrophy boosted on the Pak-40, I will probably miss first shot. The Stu will just return fire, and, the Pak-40 is pretty much toast. The only way you can really efficiently kill it is like flank it of a Tetrarch, but that's really not going to happen. Like Typhoon AT it. That's not going to be till B phase. So this Stu has complete free reign. And as you can see, he's making an absolute mockery of my infantry because I can't do anything to defend against this Stu. I got the Tetrarch over here trying to engage the Renault tank, and it's actually a pretty even fight. Both sides are just plinking the shots. And there goes the Tetrarch. It dies pretty fast if only at 3 armor. But he has good airfield control. And a lot of this map really comes down to cheesing the airfield a bit, because you can get lots of territory pretty easily just by, just having like one unit in the middle of the airfield. Because you're not going to like put all your troops here. It's going to be rather barren most of the time. It's like the Sahara Desert, a steel division. And you've got Tetrarch engaging a Renault tank, and I pretty much got pushed out on the right here, which isn't all that good. Just lost the infantry to, those Feldjägers with good air troop and support. But I've managed to make, a bit of a foothold in the middle here. And I've managed to get AB powers closer now, and once you get within 100 meters, those Feldjägers are buggered. It's pretty much the classic fight. You're getting close, you win. If you see it range against Feldjägers, you're buggered. And every Feldjäger I kill is pretty good, as you can only get 8 of him. At the same time, I don't have a lot of infantry to spare either. So it's very much a even tug of war. And he has a better infantry, not like reserves into the later game, because you can get like pioneers, and he has like 24 Ersatz trooping. Because everyone usually takes all 3 cards of Ersatz trooping. But Tetrarch's providing good fire support, helping out a bit. He's got the Panzerschreck in a pretty good position, maybe to snipe a Tetrarch as it comes off a road. Brunner just going to be slowly taking back the right. We still have Pathfinders behind enemy line. This is a pretty good spot for those Pathfinders. And because they are airborne troops, I think do you have the airborne stat? No, these guys don't have the airborne stat, my bad. They don't have the behind enemy line stat compared to the other airborne troops. So they're not going to be, they don't have the bonus behind enemy lines. But left side is just bucket. I can't do anything against that Stu-42, and I can't even kill the AT guns efficiently. I mean, I got Tetrarch CS here, but it's a bit risky engaging that AT gun head on. So it really just comes down to the fight on the right. We're going to be engaging on the Feldjägers. Do man to getting close, and 100 meters I win. He knows that he's going to pull off. And it's got, a nice little foothold just in the middle area here, and even in this group of air hangers. So it's not all too bad. I'm not gaining that plus 1 point advantage. So arguably, he has a pretty good A phase. He already have a pretty good A phase too, so I'm not going to use that as an excuse. I mean, all your good infantry, all your good stuff really for 6th Airborne is in A phase, ground rise. You don't really gain that much new stuff once you get into B and C for the ground game. You're really just really getting up into B and C phase for 6th Airborne is just being able to, you know, bring in the RAF to save your ass. That's what 6th Airborne's all about. You know, you guys get kicked to shit in the ground, just like in Market Garden, and then you hope the RAF or, you know, the American cavalry can come in to save the day. Sometimes they do, sometimes you don't, and then 6,000 of you surrender. Nonetheless, Fire Sport is working pretty well. Like I said, I really do like using tac truck tanks. I'm very much a big fan of them. And also they just look really cute. But we've got a B3 coming in. It's rather funny using a B3 against a tac truck, but not exactly a completely silly idea. I didn't have any airplanes on standby, so I'm going to use 2 tac trucks. But it's not the worst thing in the world. You gotta realize that B3 is 200 points, and those tac trucks are only 45. Well, that's a 60 point run, yeah. But even though he's killed those 3 tac trucks, he's still not cost efficient in terms of kills. So he's going to have to kill 1 more to make his points worth it, and I think he's going to. No, he doesn't. He ran out of APM, and he does have a Messerschmitt flying around too to keep the B3 alive. And he's trying to strafe my Pack 40. I believe yeah, he did spot it, so just trying to get strafe, yo. I have managed to hide the Pack 40 back in a bush. It's got the all clear squad, yeah. Right hand side, finally do bring out Sniper. I did get pushed a bit over here, but get good surrender on the Fallschläger use of the mortar unit. And the AB leaders trying to do their best, but not on a building, yeah, going to be buggered. So still not going all too well for me. Still getting my shit pushed in on the right, and definitely on the left. I've completely lost this side, and this whole airfield is losing me the match at the moment. But for the town, it's still not too bad. You know, really SMG is trying to fight Fallschlägers, but it cannot. It really comes down to the snipers, and the snipers are a perfect counter against Fallschlägers. That's why I very much like him, because they have the extra range, and even like a building-to-building fight where both of them shoot, and the AB snipers can usually outpin or outstress out the Fallschlägers before the sniper unit is killed. But Pioneers are a huge pain in the arse, yo. I really hate fighting against Pioneers. As you can micro your infantry to dodge the grenades, just to jump out the building in time. I'm just not very good at that. Like, I can't really be asked to micro with that, so he's gonna get some very good Satchel Charge kills, or Boiderlanger grenade, or however you bloody say it. Gebetterlangdung. Khan can say it better, I can't say it. And also very beefy. Very beefy infantry units. So even though the 6th Airborne troops, they're all pretty good in CQC, they don't kill stuff extremely fast. They're not like flamethrower troops, for example, which just, you know, they don't necessarily kill an infantry unit that fast, flamethrower troops, but they stress it out extremely fast, allowing you to get surrender and just get it off the map. While the SMG troops, they have to, you know, slowly shoot, pretty fast shoot the submachine guns, pin them down, and either run and get surrender, you just sit there and let the guys of the SMGs do the talking. But things are still not looking pretty good. We're halfway through B phase. I'm using the mortar to great effect. Haven't used any off-map artillery yet, and that's probably to my detriment. If I just brought in, you know, a big off-map artillery around about this stage here, I could have completely just annihilated this town and probably pushed through, because all this stuff is pretty bunched up here, especially for a naval off-map artillery barrage. I mean, you can't really miss with a naval off-map artillery barrage. I mean, if you shoot in the middle of an open field, you're still probably gonna kill some sort of Jerry. A lack of AT over here is definitely hurting me. I mean, lack of infantry AT is also kind of a detriment for 6th Airborne, especially if you don't, you know, have your ABPH, Nox, and Bucks in good positions. But I'm bringing out some ABPH at the moment. to try and remedy his situation against this Renault tank. The sniper in that building doing fantastic work. I've got a bunch of Tetrox over here, and the Stu can actually, or he can't actually shoot me, but if he just moves a bit closer, he can't kill the Tetrox, but by God, he can easily stretch them out because I only have 3 armor. And I'm trying to deal with this Renault tank. I'm doing a little bit of a flanking maneuver here of these second group of Tetrox as the first one draws fire, and that is going to get the kill, but I still need to clear out the building to Fouchagers. And Stu, yeah, and there's nothing I can really do about Stu. And he was pretty smart getting a Flag 36 to cover the Stu. And as you can see, that Stu is almost out of ammo. He's been absolutely kicking my ass. I think he got quite a few kills that match too. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a lot of unit kills. I don't exactly remember. Nonetheless, at this point I'm starting to run out of infantry a bit. I guess that's pretty common with 6 Airborne. Unless you're very good at preserving your troops, you're going to start running out of guys at this time. You're not going to be completely out, but you're going to be like, oh god, I can't just like spam or just buy free AB powers to try to clear building. No, you're going to be... I'll just try to see what I can do, run AB power or 1 Oxen Bucks at the moment and try to make it work. But he's got some artillery of his own, and they're going to be pretty deadly against my infantry. And, you know, 2 mortars beat out 1 mortar. I believe, yeah, my mortar's like, yeah, no, you have the 1.2 kilometer range, my bad. I thought it was the ones at 1 kilometer range, but I was thinking of another one. I've got the Messerschmitt fighter, and it's okay, I do have a fighter of my own now, the Tempest, and the Poston here. And the long range Poston isn't great, but once he flies closer, as you can see, and also the Tempest helping out, you know, it's not that shabby for 40-point anti-aircraft piece. It's not bad. Not too bad. And Tempest is going to get behind the Messerschmitt here. Yo, in a one-on-one fight, the Messerschmitt does kind of have the advantage, as it has the better agility. So it can get in the Tempest's arse eventually. But when you have anti-air helping out, it doesn't really matter. And for chasing down enemy planes, Tempest is fantastic. It is like bloody... I think it's 75 kilometers faster than the Messerschmitt. Something along those lines. But as you can see, you can easily get enemy kills on the retreat. But still, it's not looking pretty good for me. I am losing by a +1 point advantage still. And Homestead he almost has a 1,000-point advantage over me. I'm just getting more potions because I know at this point I need to try to get the air game. And Homestead's all cleared squad. You know, he's gonna have some lovely vision and everything, as you see. He's right next to that Pack 40. And strafing the Pack 38 over here so I can do something with the Tetrox. I'm very fortunate the Stu 42 run out of ammo. Some definitely ration strategies, yeah, you know, waiting for, you know, the scary tank to run out of ammo before, you know, attacking. So this is allowing me to make some good progress retaking left. Right side, though, is still an absolute mess. Its pioneers are just blocking the ray, and I'm starting to run out of infantry, so I'm trying to be a bit more conservative. Maybe snipers run out of ammo, and that's my main damage dealer. I'm getting the Tetrox Little John now. I think I'm starting to run out of regular Tetrox, so I ended up buying a Little John. That's not really much of a difference in the town. Both Tetrox are pretty good. Yeah, Little John is much better on CQC due to that ridiculous AP. It's crazy how they managed to squeeze out so much velocity out of such a small gun. They use like it's like a tapered bore barrel, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, not in the exact science, but essentially the round would be squeezed through a tighter bore, and it pretty much means that if it's smaller diameter, meaning more force on a smaller area, go faster. Basic physics 101 or some nonsense like that. But yeah, Off-map artillery would be a really good choice at this moment to just annihilate this town from orbit. And you got lots of it, and I do finally start bringing out run. I got the 381mm. I do lose one Tempest, got a bit cocky and flew over his lines here. But I did manage to get the airfield on the left side now. Yeah, he does have a scary Pack 40. I'm trying to move in with the Pathfinders and infantry, yo. They're gonna get stunned up by the Pack 40. And the Pioneers at long range, as the Pioneers are pretty deadly at long range. Like a lot of German infantry. I'm off-map artillery in his artillery park. I do manage to kill one mortar. I'm starting bringing some air landings now, because I'm running out of dudes. You're always running out of dudes with 6 airborne. It's such a... It's such an issue. Yeah, Tetra Little John here, he is about to get shreked on. And kaboom, yeah, he goes. But I still got lots of Tetrarchs. I still have a decent amount of Tetrarchs, I think. I was just bringing them out. I do end up using all of them by the match end. But we are now into C phase. We've been in C phase for a little bit. I'm still losing. I only got 16 minutes left to try to bring it up. But off-map artillery, as you can see, is pretty much paving the way for me to move up. That's what I mean about using off-map for 6 airborne. It is such a vital tool. I know some people don't like off-map artillery and think it's broken and overpowered. And yeah, there's an argument for it, but for 6 airborne, it works very well. And I wouldn't really say it's overpowered. Just considering your lackluster just ground units and everything else, I'd say it's pretty well deserved for the 6 airborne to have yeah much off map if you need it. I would recommend taking all the off map. Also makes sense because you know you're a paratrooper division. You're gonna be bringing in you can bring out howitzers and mortars if you want, but most part you're gonna be calling support from off map. I'm just trying to say off-map units, but like, you know, naval boats and stuff. If I can actually speak the English. But pretty much thanks to the off-map, right side is open. Yeah, it's going to take me a little bit to move up here, as, you know, it's not an armoured division, I have to move up by foot. You know, the released MMG can almost do something about it. You know, as goes a, you know, well-deserved sniper squad. Would have been nice if he was alive. The Pioneers, I can see, I really hate fighting Pioneers. I mean, buildings is not so bad, because you can, like, juke out the building and then dodge a grenade, but in a more open fight like that, there's not really much you can do to dodge a grenade. I'm starting to get those command chromas out. I'm just trying to pierce through the right-hand side. And the Su-42's back in line. It's got a Stug 3G on the left, and my Pack 40 is going to get buggered. But we're also only getting a +1 point advantage, but you do need a +2 to take us back. I do have the 6-pounders still. I still have both 6-pounders, so I'm going to be bringing out run on the right here to try to cover this open field. I got the Cromwell as well. And at its range, that 6-pounder cannot miss. It cannot miss. And, well, it does miss. Never mind. But it gets a shot second time, and the Cromwell, it's going to get easy kill. And because I'm fighting against 91st, the armor isn't really that scary. It's just Stugs. Maybe a Marder 2. Here we are, but these Cromwells are going to be perfect for that sort of matchup. It does get a good off-map artillery barrage and does nick the 6-pounder. You know, killing the Stug was worth it. Point rise, so you know, I only get like one more 6-pounder, so it's not the best thing to lose. But you see, I'm getting a lot of those Cromwells now. Lots and lots of them. Maybe I should invest a bit more on airplanes. Try to keep the air under my control, because he still has that B3, remember. But we do have that +2, and we just managed to get a huge amount of ground on the right-hand side. The Cromwell over here, it's pretty much open territory, and I could probably kill the Stu-42 if I do dare to choose so. And pretty much these are like my last infantry squads left. I'll probably have like 1 or 2 Pathfinders or AB Bren groups left at this point, but it's very, very sparse. Like this is a point, once you get to mid-sea phase for 6th Airborne, is when you really start to run out of stuff. Of course, Command Cromwell's going to have a bit of time penning 10 armor hide of the Stu 42, but here comes the B3, and this is what I mean when, you know, don't have air superiority at 6th Airborne, you're going to get shat on. And the B3 goes in and kills 1 Command Cromwell. And I don't really like losing Command Cromwells. I like having them, especially considering I only have 4. And then the main reason I'm keeping in the game is they can stop the infantry at long range easily. But it's coming in for run number 2 on this Command Cromwell, and does get the kill. And he's going to try run 3. You know, he just runs out of... He doesn't run out of ammo, but just a little bit of... Well, doesn't have the angle. I do have the mortar and AB sniper back here, which I completely forgot to micro back up, but we're just gaining that +2, and we pretty much need to hold on to the +2 for the rest of the match. So, at 59%, we're still pretty risky. We're only 1% above that +2 advantage. Seeing the B3 flying around and the Messerschmitts buggered off, it's like, okay, I can get the Tempest now and chase and kill this bloody thing. Does kill my 3rd Command Cromwell, so it goes all my tanks to one airplane. Not good. Not good at all. But I'm going to chase down this B3 and extract some revenge, yo. Yo, it's not really a rough roll victory, because even if that B3 got a rain survived, it wouldn't have really done much else. I could maybe get like another Cromwell. You could probably kill the Cromwell over here or Tetrarch, but no need, the Cromwell over here dies. So there'd be no targets for the B3 if it was alive, so wasn't exactly the most useful kill. But, you know, still want to kill the bastard. He killed 3 of my guys. Now I do Pathfinder the Stu. No I don't. Never mind. I do use Pathfinder on something, yo. No, I do use it on the Stu, because I really hate that Stu. It's still the same bloody Stu this entire time. I just haven't been able to kill it. It's just I mean, he has the best cover in game, and that is complete open field. The left-hand side's not looking too pretty because of the Earthhouse troop, and he's managed to gain a bit of ground back and bring it back to a +1 for a draw. There's Stu 43G over here. Is getting dunked on by a Tetrarch from the side, and because the engine's destroyed, it can't turn around. So the Tetrarch is just getting some clean side shots. This is what I mean about a Tetrarch. Not good as a frontline tank, but you know, a lucky side shot or ambush shot, you can rock roll for row. You know, it's not the best thing when with its accuracy. I mean, it only has 4 accuracy on the gun, which is pretty abysmal. But, you know, go all the time in a row. You've got 31 shots. Stug will eventually bloody die. I'm getting one of the 17 pounders left. The really cheap is going to finish off that Earthhouse trooping, and that's to get me back the map control. I just need stuff in this airfield now to get the extra territory. I do have a Tempest as well. Yeah, I do not want to engage those Messerschmitts. I don't even have an EAA, so those Messerschmitts, well, I'm getting AA now, but those Messerschmitts have a pretty good chance of killing my Tempest 2-on-1. I'm getting a 17 pounder on the right side to try to, you know, obviously kill tanks. But I realised I can't really push any further on the right. I pretty much have a good defensive line. No need to overextend myself at such a critical point in the match. So I'm just investing on left again. Last of my Little Johns, more AA. I mean, I'm out of tanks at this point. Pretty much out of infantry. Probably no support units left. I have off-map artillery. Still have quite a bit of off-map artillery. Probably no recon. There's really nothing. I really just like to stress out about 6th Airborne. So you just don't have a lot of stuff. It sucks once you get to the late game. It's one of the toughest late game divisions to play almost. Like even more so in like French, for example. French Armour is not SAS. Yeah, I did lose some things in pretty silly raids. I should have not let my B3 do so much damage. And that's because you really should be investing more on air power and off map than I've been doing. Yes, that's just my playstyle. I always end up treating every division like a tank division almost. I like using tanks of infantry, so I always buy lots of tanks of infantry. And always forgetting getting those artillery and airplane units. But that's just my style. I do have a mosquito here. Just to try to bomb some things. I don't know what the heck I'm trying to bomb here. I'm trying to bomb that stag. Yeah, I'm trying to bomb it so I can go around the corner of the Tetrarch and pop it. But my infantry in a good position. I think in Homestead's running out of stuff at this point. Too, like he's probably out of Feldjägers and maybe Ursats and Pioneers. He's pretty much using Spar troops, so he's probably out of infantry as well. He has like off-map artillery did, you know, a huge damage number on him. I do want to know if Homestead really pushed harder on left-hand side, especially earlier on. I would have been buggered. As that Stu 42 has really nothing I could do about it unless I got Typhoon ATs. And in this deck I only get Typhoon ATs in C phase. And I have no real long range artillery and anti-tank in B phase as well. It's really just that one pack 40. So if he pushed very hard in B phase with Stus, and heck he even got like some Marder 2s, which are a very good card in 91st, he could have pretty easily pushed all the way up to here, but thankfully he didn't for me. And I managed to just bring it back with good use of off-map artillery and rushing up trying to get as much territory as I can in the later stages of the match. It was a bit of an orthodox play to win the 6th Airborne. Usually you win the town fight pretty concretely early on, and then it's just about hold until relieved till later stages of the game. But as you can see, you still have a bit of punch in the late game. Just gotta make those few units count. And I'm bringing out Tempest, but once again, I'm outgunned. I have no AA support. I mean, he's pretty much been able to get 2 Messerschmitts out at a time, and I've only been able to get 1 Tempest out at a time. Which is not exactly good. And he's going to get behind me and get another easy kill. I think he kills all my Tempests in this match as well. I lose a lot of stuff. Like, this isn't the best 6th Airborne gameplay. I will admit I made some pretty big mistakes, but I hope you've seen the mistakes and learn from it. Pretty much just use your airplanes and support tab, or artillery, much more liberally. Especially the off-map, you got lots of it, especially in the ring I build my decks, you should use it. But yeah, we got the +3, just barely, and managed to get the point advantage, and that's going to be a good game, and that was a very good game. Homestead really played bloody well. As you see the KD, I do manage to end up killing more at the end, but if we take a look at the history, it's pretty back and forth. For A phase, I do manage to get quite a decent amount of kills later on, but it's mostly SAS trooping and some Panda strikes. But he kills a lot of my stuff as well. My infantry, all of it is not very replaceable. I can't be affording to lose it. Lots of Tetrarchs, etc. Do manage to get some good hits into the later stages of B phase, but he hits me back pretty hard as well. And I believe at this point on the naval off map starts to drop down. He got the railway artillery here. But it's at the point where I start to kill some stuff on the naval off map. And the B3 kills the 3 Cromwells, Stug 3 kicked my ass on the left. But yeah, just barely managed to bring in the victory here. In terms of kills, nothing really too crazy for any of my units. It was a pretty, you know, even affair. Everyone did a bit for the war effort. In terms of losses, and that's the Stu 42. He didn't actually kill that much, but he stressed everything out. I knew I couldn't push outside. Even though he didn't kill that much, he was an extremely scary unit. The B3s knocking out pretty decent one. The first one he killed his 3 Tetrarchs, which wasn't cost efficient for the B3. That was good for the moment. See, losing Tempests, you should not lose Tempests like this. You need to keep your Tempests alive. The Rail map, the second B3, absolute champ. I mean, pretty much knocking out my entire main armoured force in one fell swoop. But yeah, that's 6 Airborne. I understand 6 Airborne gets a bit of a bad rap. People don't think are a great division. I thoroughly disagree. I think 6 Airborne is a fantastic division. It's definitely not top tier, but it's up here in some of the best divisions, especially in a 1v1. Heck, even in a team game, 6 Airborne is really good because you can rely on your teammates, and they can rely on you to bring out shit tons of Typhoon ATs to strafe that Panzer player who's just been banking all mats to buy 5 Panthers on a King Tiger. But yeah, that is the 6 Airborne Division. I hope you guys enjoyed the Steel Division Divisional overview. And usual, please just take it easy.